I'm Jace Tanner, reporting from Vancouver's Downtown Eastside for rabble.ca. Last week, I met with Tracy, the program coordinator of the Western Aboriginal Harm Reduction Society. The week before that, I went out into the alleys of the Downtown Eastside with 3 of their workers as they distributed harm reduction supplies. Tracy has a compelling presence, and our conversations seemed to fly by. We covered a lot of ground as we discussed her personal background and beliefs, and what brought her to the organization. She told me about the programs that are offered, and what she believes to be the next steps to be taken in order to address the issues that are faced by her community.
My name is Tracy. I am 53 years old. I come from Saskatchewan. I'm from the part of the Treaty 4 Pepecasis Nation. I am a 60 scoop child, and I was looking for people, other people, Indigenous peoples, like myself, that had experienced what I have experienced. And the only place that I could really truly find acceptance in my community was in the Downtown Eastside. So I decided to come and work in the Downtown Eastside, first at Atira as a front person and a program coordinator. And then this opportunity came. The Western Aboriginal Harm Reduction Society was looking for a program coordinator. And I was very happy to accept the position and start working with fully Indigenous men and women, which is important to me. I really don't think that it's anything that you can exactly put your finger on, because the way I present and the way I speak in my own people's, I went to my reserve and I tried to get some help there to get to my roots. And it was like they just looked at me like I was an airplane coming in for landing on an automatic pilot. They just did not know what to do, and they kept saying, oh, here's a social worker, go talk to a social worker, go talk to a social worker. And I found that here in the Downtown Eastside, it's such a melting pot of different cultures, different people, different Indigenous peoples, and we all seem to be looking for that one common thing, our identity. And I really feel that in the Downtown Eastside, and I feel like I'm the same, I'm exactly the same. So yeah, I may present a little bit differently, but my heart is still the same. It's still an Indigenous person that was lost to the foster care system, to the adoption system, to all that systematic problem that we've had. And that's why I feel that I fit here, that it fits, and that a lot of people understand me better. I think what happens is when we lose our spiritual connection of who we are as people, our identity as a people, we come upon a spiritual malady, which we use drug and alcohol as a solution. And I haven't had drugs or alcohol for the last almost 23 years. I haven't had a drink for 29 years, but I have a different solution now. But I think that's a big part of it, is your loss of your spirit. How can you possibly feel whole when you don't know what your parents look like, you don't know what your native tongue is, you don't know your own language, you're not practicing tradition and ceremony, which I think there's a part of you that it's always calling, but you don't know what it is. And when I was growing up, I had that constantly, and I thought I was crazy. And I think my parents kind of thought I was a little crazy too, but they were very good about it, and they tried to get me involved with different Indigenous peoples, but it wasn't quite what I needed. There was something lacking in the people. They weren't traditional people. They were just other First Nations people or Indigenous people, or as I would say, they're just other Indians that were like me, that didn't know that we were all kind of like adopted, and we were all adopted, and we were all brought to this common, but that doesn't bring back the culture, you know? Sure, I began to believe in something greater than myself. And I began to believe that there was something bigger than me. And I knew that my heart was connected to something way bigger, way bigger, the spiritual side, the ancestors. I couldn't call it that at the time when it happened, but I just knew that I was drinking one time and something happened and I just had enough, and I just knew that I couldn't live like that anymore. I just knew that I couldn't do it. There was a part of me, and albeit I must give thanks to my parents at home and to my adopted family, because they gave me the example of being a working family, a responsible family. So I had that to look up to, and that's kind of what saved me in a way, because when I was doing all the drinking and the drugging, I was thinking, I'm not supposed to be like this. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be in university or in school or doing, and I wasn't. I was busy drinking, and I was a street kid, and that's all that mattered was the next drink. But when I discovered that there was more out there and I'd had enough, it's kind of like, why do you keep hitting your head against that brick wall? And it's like, because it feels really good when you stop. And that's what I did. I just stopped. I think the greatest hurdle is yourself. You have to get out of your own way. We're not scared of our darkness. We're scared of our light. And for me, I had to come to that realization. The dark is easy. I can do the dark standing on my head. All the evil thoughts, all the nasty things, the lying, the cheating, the stealing, all of those things, easy to do. But the light stuff, be a good person, help other people, trust in something bigger than yourself, that's difficult. That's the path less taken. So in certain groups, we call that Wellbriety, we call it the red road. And I know it's not for everybody. I am a big believer in harm reduction. I believe that all these things that we're doing, and this is what I know about myself, is like, I was looking for a solution. I was looking for an answer to my pain. And I think a lot of our people, that's what they're doing. So we must recognize these drugs, that people think they're awful, and they're not. They're not any worse than any pills or prescriptions. They're just, you just buy them, purchase them differently. And we use them to escape. And that's all it is. It's just an escape. It's a different solution to pain and trauma. So when I came to Western Aboriginal Harm Reduction Society, they were looking for a program coordinator part-time. I took one look at the program. I saw the potential of the program, and I said, if you want this program to work, you're going to need a full-time coordinator. So they said yes, and I was like, yay, let's get started. All I did was watch. And we had, at that time, we had a healing circle, and we had a members meeting and a board meeting. 3 things a week. So I saw medicine in the future. I saw medicine. I saw a lot of different programming for people to make money, which is primarily what we do. And I saw a lot of potential for a lot of different people to work together. A lot of different Indigenous folk to come together to make money, to give a place to stay, and to learn culture and tradition. And that's what we do. So now we have 7-day-a-week outreach. We have an elders program starting shortly. We have an EOPS that we're starting probably next week. And then, of course, we have the regular programming part of that. So we've come a long way in the last year, and we plan to keep going. We're going to be working with the city in Andy Livingstone Park, and we're going to be starting an outreach just specifically to that park. So we'll be working with the people and the community, and there should be art projects there and various different types of funding and programming and help for the people of that community. We're starting the first episodic OPS in downtown for Indigenous people only. What we coin that as is a culturally safe space to use drugs. It's not like a regular OPS, it's episodic, which means that you only use, like if somebody's downstairs and we're having a meeting and they need to use, they can come upstairs to our office and use. It's not like a regular OPS that has regular hours and you can use all the time. It's just episodic, so when somebody needs it. So we have a healing circle. We have an elder. His name is Martin Sparrow. He's from the Musqueam band, and he comes in every week, and we have it 3 times a month. So he comes in on the Fridays, and he comes in and he teaches us. We sit in a circle, and it's a low barrier circle, and that's very important because what that means is most circles will not allow people who have used drugs and alcohol to sit in the circle. Generally, you're not supposed to. But it is our belief that that is a colonized practice because that only came in after we were colonized and introduced to alcohol and drugs. The circles beforehand had nothing to do with that. So we have taken that away, and we believe that, well, I believe anyway for sure, in my own opinion, that the Creator doesn't care if you've had a beer. The Creator doesn't care if you've had a hoot or a needle, the Creator does not care. The Creator just wants you to be there whenever you can, in whatever way you can. And there is no such thing as bad medicine when it comes to drugs and alcohol and these things that we call drugs. They are all medicines, and sometimes we use too many of them, and sometimes we don't. But once we start breaking down the stigma of what that means, then we can all have peace in that circle. So our what we believe in is like circle. Everything comes from a circle. Same with our board. We don't have vice president, president. We don't have those positions because that is a colonized practice. So everybody is equal on the board. We try not to have any elevated positions because it just causes problems, causes people to fight, causes people to say, well, I'm the so we don't do that. And in the healing circle, what's so great about the healing circle is there is none of that at all. And all we have is the teachings of this beautiful elder, and then we get to share what we're going through and how we're feeling. And then we have a beautiful meal before, and then we have the circle, and we have the sweetgrass and the smoke and the sage. And then we finish the circle, and you just feel a lot better when you come out of the circle. You feel amazing, really. And Martin is so good, and he sings beautiful songs for us, healing songs. And it is something that, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of our circle because probably not a lot of people are doing that, and not a lot of people in our own communities, they're still having those opinions and those ideas, and what they don't realize is that those opinions about using and bad medicine, that's colonization. It's not really who we are. We don't have the judgment that way. Okay, well, I can't really talk about what goes on in the circle. The circle is sacred, so I cannot talk about that. But what I can tell you is that people keep coming back. And if something wasn't working, or if something didn't make people feel good, they wouldn't come back. And especially in this, especially where we are, sometimes people just don't come back. But the healing circle, we always have lots of people coming. So it is a good thing. And especially in this trying times with COVID, for a while we had to shut down the circle, and that was very difficult. We lost a lot of members. And now coming back, I find it's a bit of a slow start, but people are still coming back. So we're trying to be very careful with being safe, number one, but also, not losing that cultural identity and that connection that we have. Very important, especially right now when isolation is a huge factor. A lot of people dying because of that isolation. So it's really important that as well, that we don't have that stigma of, oh, somebody's got COVID, oh, well, they can't come in the circle, or he's got a cold, he can't come in the circle. So we have to be careful of that as well. We don't want to chase anybody away, but we want to be safe, and we have to honor what's going on in the community so people don't get sick. I think, you know, I've only been with WARS a short time, a couple of years, and to me that's a short time. And what I've seen with our community, and we just do a lot of things, various different things with other groups. Um, there's other Indigenous groups out there that we try to help, that we work with, like Aboriginal Front Door, Smoke Signals, Culture Saves Lives, excellent group. These are all wonderful places that, and colleagues that we have, where we have sometimes have colleagues in common. You know, people need a different job, different places, and we're here to definitely facilitate that. But we also try to have a greater sense of community when we speak to our elders, for instance. Or if there's, like, we have a great working relationship with the Downtown Eastside response. They have been wonderful and helped us out a great deal this year with extra money so we can have a food program. So now we have a food program where we make sandwiches twice a week and we take them out and feed people. So it's wonderful. We're in the midst of giving that a name. We haven't given it a name yet, but we're going to give it a new name. Our outreach program will have an Indigenous name. We just haven't decided what that will be. That program started a year and a half ago. We got some money from the city of Vancouver. We got a grant. And I said, let's just go for it and spend it and start outreach. So we did. And we started doing 2 shifts a day, 3 times a week. And we kept going that way for a while, and then we ran out of the money, and then COVID came along last year. So I applied for some funding, and I said, we need 7-day-a-week outreach. And wouldn't you know it, they said, sure, we'll give you some money to do 7-day-a-week outreach. So what we do is we go into the alleys and we provide harm reduction supplies, medicine, COVID-19 supplies, information about COVID-19 or where you can get tested, masks, you name it. We also have food, and as you can see, the outreach that just went out right now, they had hot drinks with them. So just depending on the day, we have food, we always have harm reduction, and we always have COVID-19 supplies. Like those are the 2 things that are the most important.
How's your day going today?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
That's good to hear. Do you want a article?
Yes, please.
You're welcome.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, I have some scripts here as well.
Yeah.
You need
Merci
to sign
beaucoup.
there.
Thank you. How's your day going today? Get your drugs tested.
Get the drugs tested.
Be safe, okay? Do you have any more?
But just depending on the day, we'll have different things. And sometimes we make medicine bags and we hand out medicine bags to our people as well. But it's mainly focused in the back alleys where nobody else really goes or wants to go. Oh, they were very supportive that they gave us that money, and now they're helping us with another project called the Andy Livingstone Park project. So they are very good. They are very good to what we're doing. And a person that used to be on the board, Chris Livingston, he's now working with Smoke Signals, but he was instrumental in connecting with the city of Vancouver. And him and myself have been working with them nonstop pretty much for the last 6 months. Yeah, so they've been good. Yep. Interesting ways that it's impacted the community. Number one, a lot of more people have died. People were impacted by getting so much money that they didn't know what to do with it. Big problem. People getting money that maybe shouldn't have got money, and there's no judgment here. You want extra cash, that's no problem. But It meant that people were doing more drugs with a tainted drug supply because we couldn't get good medicine any longer. So that has been an issue, and we have lost a lot of people. We have lost maybe, I can't say, not quite a quarter, but we have lost a lot of our active membership. So we've lost a lot of people. A couple of people in Vandu as well. Can't really say if it's COVID because the doctors won't, I don't know why they won't say, oh, he died of COVID. They just won't. They're just not talking about it. So we can just only assume, especially if people had COPD. So we're trying very, very much to put that behind us and move forward. But yes, it has had quite an impact. Although on the positive side, we have been able to get funding that we've never ever been able to get before. So that has been a really great thing. So we've been able to have a food program, extend our outreach to 7 days a week. I just hope that funding continues after COVID is gone, because it was funding that was already needed anyway. So, yeah. So there's good, excellent things and not so great things. I think we need a giant healing center, like a huge center that is for our people, that is for all our people that have been lost. So we can come back and have our ceremonies and teachings and get our names and get named and practice love and light and healing, and in a safe space with no, how can I say it gently? No prying eyes, with people just accepting what we do and helping us, and growing with us. And I think it could be a place for all Indigenous groups to have their offices, so they don't have to worry about paying their rent all the time if we all pool together. And then we have different programming like dancing, carving, sewing, beading, and then learning just about different cultures and traditions, round dances, singing, all of it, all of those beautiful things that we have to offer. Funding, everywhere. Build those houses, and teach people to build them, and teach people to paint them, and teach people to get involved with building their community. Funding. Give us money and let us show you what we can do with it, and how far we can stretch the dollars, and how we can train people, and how we can work with other people, and how we can share that money. And just because people do drugs and alcohol doesn't mean we're all doomed. We're not. We're just hiding our pain. Yes, but it will also include arts. So it'll include an arts program. It will include, I'm not sure when the arts program is rolling out exactly, probably when the weather gets better, but yes, it'll have a harm reduction program, a cleanup program, an arts program, and just a general community program of getting people together. We don't know what that quite looks like just yet, because we have to talk to different people in the area, but for sure we're going to be in there cleaning up and doing harm reduction. Absolutely. Big time. But the arts is also very exciting. Our people, we are filled with arts and crafts and culture and color and singing and drumming, and we make the drums, and it's just everything we do, besides worshiping the earth and Mother Earth and Father Sky. Everything that we do is immersed in that form of art. Everything was of a purpose of artistic integrity, of honoring something. Everything we do. And when you live in that purpose, you're going to do okay. But if you're born into it and you don't know what it is, it's inside you, but you don't know. And then you suffer. So, yeah, art is everything. It really, really is. And we're happy that it is. We're happy to be involved in it, but we need more. We need more. Our people need more. I think what people say the most is that it gives them a safe place to be. It's just a safe space. And that's what the EOPS is all about. That's what we're trying to do with the EOPS. It is an Indigenous only, it's the first one in the Downtown Eastside, where you can use in a culturally safe space. So when people come to our healing circle, they come because they feel safe. No. We're really lucky that we don't. I mean, we've been in trouble with the law, of course, in some of the protests we've done, and when we held down the block a few months ago, and when we were working with the pipelines in the Wet'suwet'en, we were heavily involved with those marches. So there has been a couple of times where it's been a little dicey, but no, we're good. We're good. And we're happy to be, kind of flying under the radar.
You've just heard from Tracy, the program coordinator of the Western Aboriginal Harm Reduction Society, and their work they're doing in Vancouver's Downtown Eastside. You also had a brief look at one of their harm reduction programs. To find out more about what they're doing, you can go to wars.ca. That's WAHRS.ca. Thanks for watching.